Hi, this is Matt Clark, and in this video, you're going to learn how to add your own physical product to your Amazon seller account. So, as you can see right here, this is a seller account. We're about to log into there, but first, if you're adding just a basic physical product, not a book, you're going to need a UPC code. So, I just went ahead and got another one of these that we're actually going to use to do this demo, but I just want to show you their website real quick to show you what you would need to do. Basically, you would just go to buyabarcode.com. We don't get anything from the site. We don't own this site. But if you want an easy place to do it, this is a place we always use. May not be the perfect cheapest, but it works every time and it's real quick and easy. So you would just go to this site and they have two options here. First one is I would like to order one barcode. This is my first order. I would like to order one or more additional barcodes. I'm a returning customer. From what I can tell, I don't think they actually check. So I'm pretty sure you could choose the $35 option right off the bat. I mean, if they don't let you do it, you might have to do the $85 one for your first barcode, but it's something worth testing out. So we've done this a lot before, so I just went over here to order one barcode for a returning customer. And then as you can see right here, you can choose the number of barcodes you want. Then you can enter your payment information. So I basically entered my payment information here, name, credit card, etc. You don't really need any special instructions. Didn't have a promo code. I didn't need any of this stuff. If you want a QR code or a lifetime membership, go for it. It's free, but didn't really need any of that. So just basically did that. Went over here to buy now with your credit card. And this is the page that I was taken to. I'm going to flip over here to the thank you page. Here's the thank you page. Basically, the barcode was delivered immediately as a high resolution PNG file. So if I go over to my email, I can see this is the most recent one from them. And if we scroll down to the bottom here, here's my receipt. And here is the actual barcode that they sent me. Here's the number right here. We might have this blurred out in the actual video because we don't want this getting tracked back to us if Amazon happens to get a hold of this video. So this is a live barcode if you can happen to see this, or if it's blurred out, just trust me, it's a live barcode behind there, and then you can also see the same exact number here at the bottom of the barcode image. So once that's done, we have the first step required to go add our own product to Amazon. So second thing, once again, we'll probably be blurring out some of the login details and that kind of thing, just to sort of protect us in case Amazon gets a hold of this, because you are getting some top secret information here from a group of people on account anyways, and myself that has sort of been around the block, and we try to keep things under wraps with Amazon. But anyways, here we go ahead and go over here to sign in, and this is going to sign us into the seller admin area of this account. This is all just basic information, just an identification thing up here, fulfillment by Amazon, technical notice, etc., etc. Nothing you need to worry about. What we are thinking about here is you're going to go to inventory and add a product. And then here is where you can search for an existing product. If there's a product already on Amazon that's already selling there and you want to sell your own of that product, for example, if you're drop shipping stuff or wholesaling products, you would just search for that in there by name or ASIN number if you can find it off the Amazon page. But what we're doing here is we're going to create a new product. So we're going to click on that, and I'm just going to show you an example. This is all going to be fairly similar no matter what category you're doing, but because we sell health supplements and that's something that we're actually going to use this barcode for in this example anyways, I will show you how that works, but just keep in mind this will work just about the same. You may be a few different options you fill in, but the bulk of this is exactly the same for just about every other product. So the main category structure for the products we sell anyways are, you're going to want to figure this out for the different products that you're selling, but ours is health and personal care, diet and nutrition, nutritional supplements and vitamins, and then here's a whole bunch of different types. They're not going to basically cover everything. We could pick one out from here, but I'm just going to click other nutritional supplements and vitamins. And once you're done sort of selecting your category tree, which you can see up here, you're going to click select, and this will be the category that your product actually, the base level category that your product gets featured in. And this is important because that's going to determine who you're competing against. The best way to figure that out is either just to use common sense when you're looking at those category structures, or if you're a little confused, you can look at some of the other products on Amazon that are related to yours, and you can actually look at the categories they're in. So the first thing we're going to be filling out, as you can see, there are 6 tabs here: vital info, your offer, images, description, keywords, more details. The first one is the vital info, and as you can see, this ones with the red stars, those are the ones you absolutely have to fill out or Amazon won't let you continue. So the first thing is the product name. Now here you're going to want to have a good descriptive keyword rich name prepared. Now having the keyword in the product name is not absolutely essential to be able to get high rankings for your product. There was actually a product that we were selling at one point, which Amazon was sort of on the fence apparently about whether or not they were going to let people sell it. And we were sort of playing around with some things and wanted to see if removing the product name actually had an effect on us being able to get rankings, and it didn't. We were still able to get that product ranked up to the number top few spots within a week or so, a week and a half, using our same promotional strategies with the product name nowhere found anywhere except for a few places here I'll show you in a minute with keywords and that kind of thing, but it wasn't in the product name, it wasn't in the product description. So it's interesting, but you're going to want it in there if you can, just to sort of basically put your best foot forward with the customers looking for the product. And for if it does matter just a tiny bit, you might as well have it in there for for Amazon. But more importantly, also if you want to SEO this listing, Google's going to want to see that keyword there for you to have your best chance at ranking in Google for it. So say right here, if we want to sell a multivitamin, so we would call it, ideally multivitamin, if I can spell right, multivitamin plus by, Matt's Supplement Company. Obviously a fictitious name, but that's what we're going to use for this. So now that we have our brand in there, our product name and our brand, like I said, ideally you're going to want that multivitamin at the beginning or whatever your product name is, and then some sort of brand name to make the thing proprietary. And then the next step is to add the manufacturer. You're going to want to put in probably whatever you put in your product name, and the reason you put the manufacturer brand name in the product name is so that it looks as proprietary as possible. So if people start telling their friends about this product, or if they start looking for it again, it's very easy for them to find it, and nobody else is tempted to list against your product, so you're able to maintain those same sales. So for manufacturer, it's going to be the same thing. This is just capitalization error, feel free to ignore it. So for the manufacturer, it's going to be the same thing, Matt's Supplement Company. And for brand name, what you're going to see in here, what I'm going to advise, is that you fill out as many fields as possible that are relevant to whatever you're selling. So, even though you don't have to fill out brand name, and it's going to be the exact same as the manufacturer name, in this case anyways, it may be a little different for your product, go ahead and fill it out anyways, just to have additional information on there. So all else held equal, if you and another product that is competing against yours, yours has a brand name and it doesn't, and everything else is equal, yours is going to rank better because you have those additional fields, sort of like filling out a Google map listing where you want to fill out as much information as possible to give yourself the best chance of ranking. Same thing with model number. We don't personally use model numbers in-house, so for ours, and I recommend you do the same. If you don't have one, if your product has a model number, that's great, fill it out, but we just basically make them up, so let's just call it multi and then a bunch of numbers. That sounds good. And then manufacturer part number, same thing. We will use the same exact numbers here. See, even it even says here for most products this will be identical to the model number. But even though that is, we're going to go ahead and fill it out and just put that in there just to have more fields filled out. Like I said, to give yourself the best chance of ranking as best as possible with your product. Package quantity, this is how many are for sale in one package. meaning that you could be selling, a 3-pack of highlighters, for example. So that would be 3. In our case, it's going to be 1 because it's 1 bottle, and in most cases, it's going to be 1 because you're going to be selling 1 product. But if your varies, that's what this is for. So we're going to put a 1 here for ours. Number of items is fairly similar to package quantity. We don't really mess with this. If it applies to your product, go for it, but we don't really use it in our case and haven't really ever used it. And variation theme, how products vary, size, color, size, etc., etc. In this case, we're only going to be having 1 size, so we're not going to mess with this, but if this applies to your product, feel free to go for it. And here's the part where we get down to the UPC or EAN. And like I said, we've already got the UPC from our buyabarcode.com. So I'm going to go over here to this email and copy this right here. And go back over here. And there we go. UPC is copied and this should be ready to go. I believe if you try to make up your own UPC, which believe me, we've tried, and try to avoid having to pay for one, Amazon has some way, they run it through their system, I guess, and I believe right at this step it would throw something, once you press next, it would say that the UPC was invalid. So this should be good. We press next, yep, it moves on just fine. So then now, as you can see at the top, we are no longer on the Vital Info tab, we're now on the Offer tab. They give you the option of skipping the offer data and adding it later. We don't really want to do that. We're going to go ahead and keep moving. So once again, with the seller SKU, if you have one and you want to use one for your own internal tracking and you do use that, go ahead and do it. We sometimes do, sometimes don't. In this case, once again, just going to make one up. I don't really care if it's the same as the other one. Just basically making it up. And condition, it's new for some products, for health and personal care and diet and nutrition and vitamins and supplements. Amazon's basically taken out the condition option of it being used because nobody sells used health supplements. But your product may be, different. It could be a refurbished or used, and you'll be able to select that option here. And here, the condition note, basically the condition of your product. As you can see, especially for used ones, dust cover missing, some scratches on the front, etc., etc. Well, like I said, we like to fill as much information out on this as possible. They allow you 2,000 characters. We don't use that much, but we generally fill out something such as, stored in air-conditioned facility and ready to ship. Because this will be something the customer will be able to see. So just every little bit of information helps rankings, help you have additional unique content on the page, and helps customers feel more comfortable buying your product. So then now here's the price that you want to sell it for. Say for example, if we want to sell this product, this multivitamin, for $47. And if that's the ultimate price we want to sell it for, I recommend actually putting a higher price here. So we'll say $59. And then putting a sale price, because we've seen actually putting a sale price could give you some bumps up in rankings, just because Amazon's, sort of built its business on being the low-cost provider, having cheaper prices. So if you have your base price and then a sale price, it shows that the product's already on sale, and you can do a sale for a short period of time and just keep extending it basically. But it's a good idea to, just give yourself that extra boost in rankings. So we're going to have it start today, and we are going to have it keep going for a month. And then the people will actually be buying it for this price during this time period. You can always extend this, and if you didn't extend it, then it would automatically bump up to your $59 price after this time period. So you want to pay attention to that, make sure you're selling it for the price you intend to sell it for, but I recommend using a sale price while you can. Because Amazon also will show if there's like a sale, if the sale's coming to an end. If you want to do this for a short-term strategy, if the sale's coming to an end, Amazon will have a message on the page that says that the it was only on sale for this price for this many more days. So it's actually pretty good for marketing in that sense. Quantity, this is the number that you have available. If you're drop shipping products, we usually put somewhere around 500 up to 4,000 basically. Sort of arbitrary numbers, sort of not. You put too low of a quantity if you're drop shipping in this sense, or if you basically order the product in your own inventory all the time and you pretty much always have it in stock. So it's virtually an unlimited supply and you don't plan on running out. You don't actually want to track inventory within Amazon. You're basically just trying to put enough on here so that you don't continually have to come refill it and keep changing the inventory back up and running the risk of like forgetting to do it and not being able to sell it all. But the only other thing you need to think about is that we've actually received an email from Amazon one time when we uploaded a bunch of products and we told them we were drop shipping them, so we basically sell as many as we want, and we put 20,000 for all of them. Amazon sort of put our account under review and was like, "What the heck's going on here? Where's your source for your inventory? How are you getting this? This looks kind of fishy." We told them what was going on. We drop shipped products, etc., etc. So everything was good, and they, uh, our account went back to being perfectly fine, but you'd rather, as much as possible with Amazon, stay under the radar. So with that said, quantity of 4,000, anywhere between 500 and 4,000, doesn't seem to raise any red flags. We like to vary it some if we're adding a bunch of products, just so it looks a little more natural and doesn't raise any red flags with Amazon, because the last thing you really want is your account to go under manual review, so we're trying to avoid that. Tax code, this is going to, applies if you enable Amazon tax collection services. You feel free to use that if you want. We don't use this, so we're not going to do anything with this here. Handling time in days. Now this is how many days, once you receive an order, how many days it takes you to be able to ship it out. If you can ship stuff pretty quick, I recommend putting a 1 here, just to sort of, like I said, give you that extra bump and look a little bit better in Amazon's eyes versus your competition who may put 2, 3, 4 days there. You are all of a sudden shipping stuff faster, so if you have the same price and that sort of thing, you're going to be in a better position here. Start selling date. This is basically if you are releasing a product and don't have it for sale just yet, Amazon will let people to take pre-orders, and you can list your product here and say it's going to start selling, in a month, in 10 days, 5 days, whatever. You can put that here, and don't make the mistake of accidentally just putting some date here because an employee of mine has actually done this before, and we thought we were selling the product, but we're not actually selling it because we had a date here. So just remove that. Everything was good, but it's something to watch out for. Gift options, do you do any of those? You can select those if it makes any sense. Restock date, this is another sort of thing if you're out of inventory, when it will be back in stock. So that's another thing where people can take pre-orders and that kind of thing. And shipping method, if you want to ship it yourself, that's the option that's selected by default unless you're using a bunch of fulfillment by Amazon. Second option is for fulfillment by Amazon. Then you'll need to set all that up if you haven't already. But in our case, we're shipping it by ourselves, and you can use fulfillment by Amazon if you want, but that's not what we're going to do here. Shipping options, it's going to use the default settings, and those are set up, in a different screen in your seller settings area. This is basically going to use whatever settings you've already set up for those. So this product's going to apply the same settings. So I'm going to click next. And here's where we would start uploading images if we have more than one, or just uploading the one that we do have. And here we're going to click add images, and I don't have any images to add right now for this particular product, but you don't have to actually get the product listed on Amazon. You can add the images later, but you just click browse file, and it'll show it processing. You click upload images, and it'll sort of do it in the background. And once you get into uploading the product, you can wait a few minutes and then go verify that the image is on there. And you can always add images later. You can change images, do whatever you want. But this is a screen that you go for. And it says images must be at least 1,000 pixels on the longest side to be zoomable. So 500 pixels is the minimum. I recommend doing images, at least 1,000 pixels on the shortest side if possible, just to make sure everything looks good and the customers can get a full good image of what your product looks like. And they say, images must only show the product that's for sale with few or no props and no logos or watermarks. They say that, but to be honest, you can still do those things. I don't recommend doing it for all your products, but for a period of time anyways, it can give you a good boost in sales, because if your competitors aren't doing this and you're trying to get in sort of those first few secured spots, you can go this route. And we've done it, not gotten in trouble and that kind of thing. We've seen other people do it for quite a long time and nothing ever happens. So, you want to follow the rules as much as possible, but if you want a short-term bump in sales anyways, add an image with your watermark or a logo and that kind of thing, and that can help you give you a pretty good bump. And it also says main images must have a pure white background. And that also, you'll see images on there that do not have a white background. Sometimes those stand out quite well. You can play around with this kind of thing and see how it bumps up your rankings and that kind of thing. But ultimately, once you get up into a higher ranking, you're going to want to play things a little safer. You can be a little, a little sneakier and that kind of thing. Break sort of the soft rules when you're trying to get your product bumped up to those top rankings. But once you're up there, then you want to be a little safer because you're going to get competitors telling on you and that kind of thing. So you're going to want to follow the rules, like having a pure white background on your main image. So once we would have our images uploaded, or if we want to do it later, we would basically go to the next screen, which is the description. And here's the key product features. These are just 5 bullet points about your product. You can put whatever you want here. These are going to show in the product description. So you're going to want these good and benefit rich, and these are basically, mainly for the users. If you can throw some keywords in here, that's also good. But we can also put just keywords in the description, which we'll talk about in a second here. But these are, basically just used to sell your product. So take your strongest features, which can actually be, ideally worded as benefits to sell more of your product, and you can add those here. So I'm just going to make these up on the fly. So this is a multivitamin. We'll say highest quality sourced ingredients from around the world. Hopefully you come with something a little better than that, but that's what we're going to put there. No added fillers. Contains, I'm just making this up, so we'll say 16,000% daily value of vitamin B12, and so on, and so on. And then product description. Here you have 2,000 characters, and you don't really have any formatting options here, but I recommend, filling out as much of this as possible. Once again, this is just what you're going to be using to sell your product, so the better, people actually do read these when they're sort of comparing apples and apples, and sometimes, different products on Amazon, deciding what they want to buy. People do read these, so these are very important, and you can also include some keywords here and that kind of thing to make sure that your product is picked up by Amazon and Google for what it's supposed to be. So here's where you would put your description, and ideally you have 3,000 characters, 2,000 characters, so you're going to want to use as much of that as possible to make it, your product really have some substantial information on there. And then after you get done doing that, you go to this next page, and here's platinum keywords, search terms, and a few other things. Platinum keywords is interesting because I was looking back at this, and I've never seen one of our accounts anyways not have this option for platinum keywords. But then I was researching to see what other people's experiences have been, and other people seem to have a hard time getting platinum keywords. Maybe they're just not selling enough, don't know what they're doing, or really screwing some things up. I don't know. But if you do just a reasonable amount in sales, like at least 1,000 a month or something like that, you seem to be able to get this platinum keywords, which just helps categorize your products a little bit better. So these are likely going to be exactly the same as your search terms. So these are what you want people to find you by on Amazon and how you want your products to show up on Amazon. So, in this case, you're going to pick the top keywords, probably the same as your SEO keywords you found with the Google keyword tool or that you're already using. So it's likely going to be the exact same thing. So natural multivitamin. Once again, making these up as I go. Men's multivitamin, women's multivitamin, adult multivitamin. So like I said, you would basically copy all of those down here. Now this is really going to, affect what your product shows up for, at least initially on Amazon. Like I said, the one product that we couldn't put the product name in the description or title, at least we thought anyways, the only way Amazon had any idea a product was related for this term was us using these two things right here, these platinum keywords and these search terms. That was enough for Amazon to quickly figure out what keywords we wanted to rank for, and from there we were able to drive up those sales, or drive up those rankings for that product to the first couple rankings, and generate hundreds of sales a day, or 100 sales a day to be exact, with that one product, resulting in the 60,000 plus a month with that one particular product. So intended use, you can fill out whatever you want here. Once again, these are things that are going to show up on the product page and going to help Amazon categorize their products. And here you can put whatever you want, up to 5. You can pick ones that they already suggest. You can show more, and you can write your own. So you have a few options there. Target audience. Once again, like these items you don't have to fill out, but the same thing with the rest of Amazon. You want to fill out as much as possible to give yourself the best chance of ranking. So then here I'm just going to go ahead and quickly select these things. Once again, you provide your own, do some thinking. What is your product? Who is it actually targeted towards? You can do more than one group. Other attributes, we'll say this multivitamin is all natural. It's in a capsule format with all the vitamin B12. It's energy enhancing too. And subject matter, it's going to be vitamins, vitamins and minerals, multivitamin. Once again, if these don't match what you want them, you can write your own. And this one you can also choose up to 5. So now we're going to go to the next screen, which is actually the last screen, which is more details. And a lot of what's on this screen is not going to apply to a lot of products. And once again, fill out as much of it as you possibly can, but don't worry if some of the stuff doesn't apply. Like none of this stuff on this page is actually required. So if you were just in a hurry or didn't care as much, you could just go down and click Save and Finish. But just to walk you through a few things, manufacturer's suggested retail price. If this applies to your business, then you can actually put a price in there that it's the retail price if you're selling at a discount. And is it discontinued by the manufacturer? If you have extra quantity, you can fill that in here. Is it hazardous material, consumer notice, unknown betting proposition? Once again, this is going to apply to your specific product, and if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Product dimensions, we'll just put some stuff here. And we'll say it's in inches. This is just giving Amazon and the customers more and more information. Same thing with weight, item diameter. I'm going to sort of skip through a few of these things because I think you're getting the idea. Shipping weight, what's the weight of the package when the package shipped, color of the item, color map, size. Some of these things are going to be relevant. So for example, for a supplement, 60 capsules, that's something that people are going to want to know. So, for example, if you're selling T-shirts, people are going to want to know what sizes you have available. If it's, they're going to want to know these kind of specifications if they apply to your product. So, filling them in now is going to prevent a lot of questions in customer service later. So, the more you can fill in, especially the ones that are required, not necessarily by Amazon, but by your customers to know what the heck they're buying. You're going to want to go ahead and fill that in now. Indications, how the product should be taken, directions, how the product is used, and ingredients. These are all things that may or may not apply to your product, but they can all be filled in here. Amazon will come up with some of these that they'll automatically pre-fill. For example, item form, obviously there's capsules, cream, but there's a whole bunch of other ones that apply to different products that may or may not apply to yours, but fill them out if they do. Safety warning, and here's where Amazon gets really specific with some of this stuff. Let's see here. Once again, more just package information, battery type, lithium ion, lithium metal. I mean, this kind of stuff is not going to apply to probably not anybody's products here, but if they do, you have those options here. Number of batteries, and these are things related to toys and that kind of thing. Amazon gives you all these different options, but most of that stuff is not really going to apply to most products. And that's it. Once we're not going to do this now because we're actually going to use this barcode in the future for a real product and not just this quick run through. But this is basically how you set up your own proprietary product. Once you click this Save and Finish button, Amazon will tell you your product has been added, assuming everything is good, and then your product will be visible on Amazon within about 15 minutes, and you'll be ready to start promoting it and start selling it.